Welcome to Basscast Radio, bringing you the best in local and national news in bass fishing, as well as interviews with some of the best anglers from all over the U.S. With your host, Brian Carter and Hank the Bass Geek. Sponsored by Wild Wear America, Z-Bait Company, Missile Baits, Battleborn Batteries, Conrad Brothers Marine, Taylorman's Custom Lures, Vertical Lures, and Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range.
All right, guys, we are back with another great episode of Basscast Radio. It is Wednesday night, and the streak is still alive. We are knocking them out. Got my co-host with me, Mr. Bass Geek. What is happening, brother?
What is going on, Basscast Nation?
What is up? What is up?
Hi, man. A lot of stuff up this week. Got to do a little bit of fishing yesterday. I was supposed to have been working on the house today, but, I shot so many videos. Had to get one out, as always, on Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday and Sunday, Bass Geek on YouTube. Always dropping the vidges.
I saw it. That impressive, what was that? Impressive $25 rod?
Oh, it was $55, but it is a
55
Arid X a Daiwa, and I'm telling you, like, there's no words that I can say that can justify the quality feel of that rod. And I'm not sponsored by Daiwa. Daiwa probably doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
$55. And what kills me, what drives me crazy, when I first bought it, I bought it for my buddy Jeremy, who's been helping me edit.
Yes.
And so this is kind of how I'm paying him. I'm buying him baits and stuff like that to help him build his arsenal. So we're just kind of trading. And, when I bought it, man, I'm telling you, I thought, oh, man, this is going to be too soft for throwing those walking baits, until I put a big Zara Spook one knocker on there and zinged it out there and went, holy guacamole.
Holy cow.
Dude, it was, you can throw everything from a popper to like I said, a Zara Spook one knocker. And I mean, it handles it. It's not over flexing at all.
There it is, guys. This is Bass Geek's Instagram page. By the way, make sure you guys are following him on Instagram as well as YouTube. And you got another way to be followed right now. Tell us about that, brother.
I just did and jumped in the world of TikTokery. So
TikTok.
I am on TikTok now, Bass Geek. Guys, anytime you're going to find me on any sort of social media platform, it's either Bass Geek, all one word, or Bass Geek Fishing. And you pretty much name it, I'm out there on it at this point. There is a big announcement. I want to send this out there. I want to shout this out. In Lebanon, Virginia, I'll be up there for 3 days in Lebanon from, I believe it's the 27th through the 29th in Lebanon, Virginia. I am taking part in a youth experience showcase, and it's all about media. There's going to be people from newspapers, all different kinds of prints, Instagram, famous people, you name it, any kind of media. It's a media event to kind of get those teenagers who, are interested in that sort of thing, to kind of say, hey, you can go out and really make a buck and make a living doing a lot of different things.
That's awesome.
We're going to talk about my YouTube channel, and, I'm going to talk about fishing and a lot of other things, since I'm a YouTube connoisseur.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I do watch a lot of YouTube. My wife is constantly slapping the phone out of my hand.
It's funny you brought that thing about the youth, and it's pretty cool. I could tell us a quick little story. So I had this kid hit me up, and he's like, "Man, I want to start a tackle store." And I'm like, "Are you stupid?" But I didn't really say that. But I was like, "Why don't you start a YouTube channel or a documentary about the process of you starting this tackle store and start talking about and build it up and start talking about the new baits and the new products and what's coming out new. And hey, before you know it, you ain't going to want to start a tackle store because you're not going to want to be. People don't understand retail. I was in retail when I was a kid. You're there Monday through Friday, Saturday, 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 days a week, unless you're making a crap load of money and you can afford employees. And now, I'll be honest, that if you're going to start a tackle store, you better have at least 50 grand.
Oh yeah. Right now, I'm not going to lie to you. One of the things I've looked at is maybe starting a small online tackle shop.
Yes.
Where it sells a lot of the baits that I use particularly. And even to do that, minimum, you're talking about $20,000 to $30,000.
Yes.
So,
like the old man used to say, man, you can't eat this stuff. You got to sell it. It's got to go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so I told him, I said, document the process of you going about doing this and talking to other people and, all this other stuff. And I was like, it was about I haven't heard from the kid, young man, since then, but he graduated from Liberty University. But I mean, I didn't want to crush his dream, but I said there's a lot better ways of going about doing this in a 2021 deal than going out there and trying to find $50,000 to someone to give you. That
find a way to do it differently than everybody else is doing.
That's right.
And I've got a little something.
Uh-oh.
Way up here up my sleeve.
That's what I'm talking about. Whoa, I saw that.
All right,
here you go, guys. Real quick, for you guys who are watching, boom. Let me bring it on over. There is Bass Geek's channel. Make sure you guys head on over to TikTok and follow him. TheBassCast.com is on TikTok as well. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for following me on TikTok. While we're talking about that, guys, Rumble. If you are not following us, and we got a few new people started following us on Rumble. So if you haven't heard of Rumble yet, it's an alternative to YouTube. It's really cool. I kind of consider it more on our age level, but that's where we park, and we're still parking our the podcast on YouTube. But this is the main host for our podcast is Rumble. So check out rumble.com. It's a nice podcast is sponsored by English Choice Marine, Dick's Sporting Goods, Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range, Battleborn Batteries, Wildware America, Conrad Brothers Marine, Missile Baits, who we all saw at ICAST. Whoa, it's ICAST week, boys and girls. It is. Wow, it's awesome. I wish I was there. And Lisa Lindsay, associate broker. If you guys are looking to buy a house or sell your house down in South Boston, Virginia, which is right next to Clarksville, Virginia, Bugs Island, all that good stuff down that way. She can do all that area. I don't know enough about real estate, guys, but I have a feeling her license is pretty good anywhere in Virginia. So 434-572-2645. And she got a bunch of awards and Realtor of the Month or Year or something. We'll post it all soon. But yes, if you guys are looking to buy a house or get rid of your house, I ain't gonna tell you now's the time to do it, but she's got some great deals and she's got a bunch of properties for sale. So make sure you guys go head on over and check her out. Well, here at thebasscast.com, like I said a minute ago, it's ICAST week. We're getting media press releases every single day, new products coming out from Daiwa to Missile Baits, our sponsor, to I don't even know. There's a goodness gracious. There's so many right now. It's crazy. It's like, Brian, can you just keep up? And I'm like, I'm trying.
I don't even try if I'm not there. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'll sort it out. It's like I just throw it in a giant pile and then I sort through it after the fact.
So Ike came out with a new Hobie fishing kayak. It's got his little logo on the front of it. Like I said, the press release from Missile Baits came out. You know, they got a bunch of new colors for their missile jigs. And gosh, I have to scroll down here.
They've also got a new small swim jig and
Yes,
small
they do.
profile spinnerbait that I'm very interested in.
Daiwa's got some new stuff. St. Croix's got some new stuff. New reels coming from Daiwa. Spear Point Performance hooks. Press release from them. So there's a lot happening, a lot going on. And I've actually spoken to Zandelor Tackle Tour. I had him on a 15-minute Sunday morning conversation. If you guys like to be a part of that on Instagram, just DM us. But we're going to have him on the podcast. And it's going to be awesome because he's going to talk about what he saw at the show and give us a look at for those who weren't able to go. And looking forward to that. If you guys didn't check out the 15-minute conversation, just go to Instagram right now and you guys can watch that. I try to keep the Sunday morning conversations and all that stuff categorized so you can go back and watch it later. All right, guys, tonight we have with us Mr. Brandon Perkins. If you guys didn't know or living under a rock, the NPFL is making a splash in 2021, and he is the Pickwick winner. So really, really excited about having him on tonight. And me and Baskey get to meet him. He's from Tennessee. I did read that much. I was reading back some of his bio and stuff. But we're going to learn more about him. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break right here. And then we'll be right back with Mr. Brandon Perkins. All right, guys, we are back with Pickwick NPFL winner, Mr. Brandon Perkins. What's up, brother? Thank you for coming on.
Hey, appreciate y'all having me, man. I'm honored to be here and proud to be a part of the show tonight.
First of all, congratulations on your win on your home lake.
Yeah, awesome to have you.
Hey,
Congratulations,
I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all so much. It was such a cool week.
All right, let's get this thing started. First
All right.
of all, who is Brandon Perkins?
So
How'd the whole thing start?
So a little bit about myself. I grew up fishing. My dad tournament fished back in the day quite a bit. He drug me around. I fished some of the Redmans as a co-angler when I was, a little kid. And I have fished mostly FLW stuff, fished a lot of BFLs, fished the Toyotas, Costas, Strins, all that. The first Strin series I ever fished was here at Pickwick. Probably, it's been a long time. I'd say 15 years ago, maybe, and made a top 10 in it. That was kind of the Randy Haynes debut. So that was Haynes' first win. He kind of came out of nowhere, which we knew who he was, but he came on the scene then. And
I can tell it's been a long time because you're still calling it the Strin series. I'm like, this guy's been doing it for a minute.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So last Thursday I turned 40. But I've been fishing for a long time. I feel like an old man compared to all these kids. Like I'm right on the line of being like one of those younger guys that knows how to use the technology friendly stuff. But then I feel like that, but then I get in the boat with one of them and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So, but I fished a lot of ABA stuff. I think it was 09. I won I'm going to go with 09. I won the ABA National Championship here at Pickwick in October of 09.
Nice.
And that kind of got me on the map. I started fishing some Strands, Costas and stuff after that. And I had some success, but it's not, to me, those trails are like it's a hobby trail to me. Like, obviously they pay very well if you win. Winning's hard. It's hard to win. It's hard to win a fruit jar at a Goat Island down here on Tuesday night, much less the Costa series. So, I did, I fished some of those. I think in probably 15, I came in second in the Coastal Championship that year.
Oh, wow, dude.
It was out of Paducah. It was the same year that Hanselman won all 3 in his division in Texas, and then he also won the Coastal Championship. So I got to go fish in the Forest Wood Cup that next summer in August. It was at Wheeler. Spent, a ton of time over there, because to me that was like Brandon Perkins' chance to make it. Like,
I wish I could have went to that one instead of the one I went to in Arkansas. Holy cow!
That was a tough, man. August is tough anywhere.
It is.
I say, I felt like had the tournament been in June, because I spent every waking second that I was not at work that summer at Wheeler practicing for it. And I feel like if it had been 2 months earlier, that I would have had a good shot at it. But man, John Cox made us all look like amateurs in that one. But I've had opportunities before to fish the tour, qualified through the coast as a time or two.
Right.
And it just wasn't right for my family. As bad as I wanted to do it, I've got a full-time job. I work for Kindred Healthcare. I do marketing and sales for them. And it's a good job. I need the benefits. My wife's an independent contractor. She's a physical therapist, so she gets no benefits. So it's something that's needed in my family. I got 2 little girls at home, and it's not been the right time for me to step out and do it. And this NPFL trail came along, started hearing some rumors of it, started talking to Brad and Al and Paul and the bunch. And I liked what I heard, but I was still a little skeptical. Talked to them for months. Brad said, Brandon Perkins, you were the hardest person to convince to do it. And it wasn't necessarily him having to sell it to me. It was just, it's a family decision where I live. Like,
that's awesome.
I hate to say I give my wife, thanks for my wife letting me do it, but like at my house, we decide things as a family and as a unit, and I get input from my little girls, and because I know it's hard on my wife when I'm going traveling for weeks on end, and then I had to sit down with my boss at work and negotiate a little bit of time off too, and that's hard because I put them in a bind when I'm gone. I'm in sales, and it affects the company. It affects revenue. When I'm gone, things are not quite the same. And fortunately, they've held the fort down for me. I've been able to do this and don't regret it for a second, man. I've had a ball doing it.
Nice.
That was my next question, man. How the NPFL deal? Being the inaugural season and you having the opportunity to fish, it's now called the Major League Fishing, but the FLW back.
That's right.
1 year ago. But, what was really the deciding factor for you making this move?
Yeah. So the difference in the two, in my opinion, was the time off. So obviously FLW Tour at the time it's an awesome trail. Like, I got buddies that fish it. I respect FLW. I'm an FLW guy. I always have been. And the way that they set their schedule up, though, there's times where there'll be 2 tournaments during a 4 or 5 week stretch.
Right.
And work-wise for me, I cannot swing that. And that was the biggest difference. That was the deciding factor for me. I put myself, I guess my family, in a financial situation where I could afford to do this, especially with the help from some of these sponsors that I have for this season and next. Right. But just the way that NPFL is designed more for the working man, in my opinion. Like, we've spaced our tournaments out to a point where I can still get away with it with work, is bottom line. And that to me is the biggest deal that separates us. And I do think that, because I know a lot of these guys that fish the tour and stuff, they still work. My buddies, they've got full-time jobs.
Oh yeah, a lot of them do.
And I think that's going to be their little niche, NPFL's niche. I feel like we're going to get some anglers from other trails over the next few years because of the way the schedule's laid out. I really do.
Oh, yeah. And trust me, I totally understand. Man, I've been married 27 years. Yeah. And so I understand my boss. I consult my boss on all decisions.
Yes.
And I ain't talking about my day job either.
No, I hear you, man.
So the schedule this year, actually, this is something I really haven't talked to John about, but how much of an input were you guys allowed? Were you guys allowed to put any? It's being an inaugural season for the NPFL. were you guys allowed to put any input into this thing, or did they start with like 12 guys, or was it just 2 guys like me and Bass Geek said, this is what we're going to do, and here we go?
So I came on so late that I missed the front end on a lot of stuff. I debated and debated and debated, and the little group, and there's not necessarily like a board of anglers. Like I know some trails have that, and this one's run by the leadership group, but I think they ask our opinions, and I think they value our opinions. I mean, even on little decisions made so far, not even necessarily schedule changes, but just small things, they've asked our opinion and kind of gotten votes on certain issues and things like that. But I don't know on the front end if there was some input on the schedules. Right. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, it wouldn't shock me if there were some chatter, like, would you rather go here or here? We got options to do this or that. But I was not part of that on the front end.
Okay.
I did not know where the trail was going when I signed up to fish it.
All right. My next question is, a lot of, we interviewed a gentleman last week from the Wild Wild West out there. And that was pretty awesome because we learned a lot. I mean, that was pretty freaking cool. They do a whole mix of stuff. They do a little kayaking in their weigh-in. They do weigh-in by inches. It's a bunch of stuff. What do you think about the 3 days? Everybody fishes all 3 days. Because I mean, for me, it'd be like, all right, I'm the top 10, like bass. Okay. The top 10 or 15, whatever it is, to fish the final day. I got the whole lake practically to myself. That's right. You're fishing 3 days. Yeah. With all 50, 75, 100 anglers, whatever the heck it is. I mean,
so I'll say I knew going in, I loved the 3 days for everybody.
Okay.
But I also knew that this one right here in my backyard was going to be the one I hated it in.
Right.
And I'll say, because ledge fishing's already complicated enough. It's already overcrowded. Everybody's awesome at it. Everybody knows how to use their electronics. And I knew that, and I'm not saying I knew I was going to be up there leading the thing, but I knew that if it panned out like it should, that I would be up near the top of the standings, not necessarily leading or anything like that, but that I felt like I would make the final day, whether if we had a cut or not, potentially. So I knew this one would get a little tricky because, like, I'll say this, on the last day, I had one school that I was fishing that was to myself, nobody in the tournament.
Right.
So I kind of babysat them during practice a little bit. So my home part of the lake is this lower end, the actual counts into the lake, not McFarland, not Florence. And so I spent 2/3 of my time up here on my end of the lake. And, I had my eyes on that hole a lot because I knew what was down there. They were down there before the cutoff and they were big ones then. And I sampled them for about 2 or 3 casts the first day of practice, and they were good ones and the right ones to win, I thought. And the very last day, I had 2 competitors that both fished it. Both had a decent bag off of it. And, if we don't have a cut, or if we do have a cut, that never happens. And I catch a substantially bigger bag on the last day, in my opinion, because I know for a fact it hurt me because of that pressure on them. But, I'm the kind of guy, I'm a little more consistent. You go back and look at my Toyotas, Costas, whatever. Day 2 is typically a better weight than day 1 was. So one thing that excited me about this trail was all 3 days, because I knew you're not going to get beat in a 2-day tournament where you have to make the cut to go to day 3. One big bag carries people into day 3 a lot of the time.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And I knew that one big bag was not necessarily going to beat me in this, because consistency is rewarded more than just, stumbling into one big bag on day 1. Yeah. So I was excited about that. And I think most of the other anglers in the field feel the same exact way. So
you're going into the final day. You were talking about that your day 2 is a lot better. You had a 7-pound lead going into the final day. Yeah. And you end up crushing the whole thing, to be honest with you. 55 pounds, 11 ounces for all 3 days. So congratulations on that.
I appreciate it.
But let's rewind this thing, man. Let's talk about practice real quick, brother. How was your practice?
So I have fished enough ledge tournaments, offshore tournaments on the Tennessee River to know how to go about practice, I guess. And I've learned that the hard way. Like, I used to be the guy that would roll across the school, stand up, fire on them. And then while I'm firing on them, boat up on a 4-pounder while it's flopping around, 2 boats drive by. The next time I drive by it, there's a boat sitting on it, 2 boats drive by them. And it's just a domino effect. And I have fished enough of those to know that you don't stand up on them in practice. Now, I get that if you're not from here and you're not a local, that you need to stand up on one occasionally to see what they'll bite, to see what time they'll fire, to make sure they're not white bass, to make, right. I get that. But like, you can ride the lake at Pickwick on any given day and tell where the community holes are. And in my opinion, that's where you do your sampling of baits at, and to see what they'll eat, see what you can, get them fired up on. So I spent my whole practice scanning. Okay. I actually looked a little shallower. Some grass stuff. I really felt like when this tournament was announced in July that it would be one in the grass. The spring, the rains that we've had, the high flow current, the grass in Alabama is not like it used to be. I spent a whole day where they live, like in the area where they live, and I caught some fish, but nothing that I was really excited about. Right. I say I spent a whole day. I spent a half day. I spent a whole day before the cutoff, and then I spent a half day of this practice doing it. And it didn't take me long to realize that in my opinion, it was going to be one offshore. So I was kind of changing my mind on that. But I spent the whole practice scanning, looking. I call it being a good boy because, dude, it is so hard. It's so hard.
And yes, I know, man. I'm with you.
It is so hard to not throw on them, man, because I like to catch them. I don't necessarily like fishing. I like catching. So.
yeah, exactly. So, man, tell us, because I know a lot of guys. I'm an offshore angler. I grew up fishing up in East Tennessee, man. I'm up around Cherokee and South Holston. Awesome. We got a mix, Douglas, and got the Tennessee River, Fort Loudon and Chick just down the road from me. Heaven. So I love ledge fishing in the summer. Love it. Even got some small lakes over on the Virginia side. I live right on the border up here that are, really small lakes. They got some big gizzard shad in them. I fish them. I fish them just like you fish the Tennessee River, man. You get out there and ledge fish on those little creeks. But tell us, because I know there's a lot of guys that still have a lot of questions. It ain't like it used to be. You're right, man. I remember when I could go out and get on a school and nobody else would be out there. You're out there, and it's everybody knows how to do it now. But I still get a lot of questions. I don't know if you know this, but I've got a YouTube channel called Bass Geek, and so I still get a lot of questions, about practicing, for ledge tournaments. Tell us a little bit on what you look for. I know it's hard to do without video, but tell us a little bit on what you're looking for and the difference. I don't know your electronic setup, but tell us a little bit about what it is that keys you in on a good spot, and give us a little bit of that topo. Right. I know we're looking for current breaks a lot, that sort of, but tell people what you really key in on.
So what's cool about it, and I actually talked to old Luke Duncan about it the other night, because we were talking about Wisconsin because that's the next stop. I know it's going to be a grass lake. There's some grass at play and some smallmouth and big smallmouth, but and I fishing the Tennessee River back in the day, Kentucky was loaded with grass. Had a lot of hydrilla, a ton of hydrilla, offshore hydrilla, big fish got in it. Yeah. I'm not a grass guy. I love throwing a swim jig around some good bank grass, gator grass, stuff like that. But offshore grass stumps me. And, I just pick up the trolling motor and I go fishing. A lot of guys can look at an aerial shot or a map and say, this is where they're going to be in the grass. Or just look at a map and say, that's where they're going to be. And I wasn't blessed with that. Like, I don't have that bone in me. I have to pick up the trolling motor and hunt for them. But on the Tennessee River or any really current lake, I did it on the Ohio River a little bit as well, but I can look at a map and tell you, like, this is where they're going to be. And it's pretty easy at this point. But as far as if somebody's asking that question to me, a lot of times I start out working river ledges, especially this late in the year and even immediate post-spawn. I think the river ledge is the place to start. In my opinion, the easiest and best way to start river ledge fishing is to find where the creek mouths dump into the river. And, you know, it's not like I'm scared to give that away. Like everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody
most people
knows
know that at this
most
point.
people know that. Yeah.
That's right. Anywhere a creek channel dumps into a river ledge, there's going to be a school on that down current side of that.
Yeah.
And you just have to figure out if they're out on the tip of that, or if sometimes with all this pressure, they'll get pushed on the top or down the side of the bar, maybe on the inside. They may actually be down that creek channel toward the creek some, but that's kind of where I start. A lot of it's based on current. Like I showed my cameraman multiple times this week, I would catch shells. I was catching mussels, shells, you know, and I said, you know, that's why they're here. This is a shell bed. So, but all that stuff to me on the Tennessee River is current related. Once I start scanning, you know, find the obvious stuff, the stuff that sticks out like a sore thumb, like those creek ditches and mouths and stuff like that, I'll then start scanning. And I've almost adapted my practices to where I don't mess with the obvious stuff because everybody's finding it. And I do a lot of straight ledge scanning now, stuff that's not obvious. Like
just the littlest.
That's
just
right.
The littlest. Yeah.
And what I love, so you ask about the graphs and my electronics. I'm a Lowrance guy, always have been. I know that every brand has pros and cons. I'm familiar with Lowrance. That's what I run, and I love them. I did for a year or two run a Humminbird because of the Lake Master.
Oh yeah, yes.
In my opinion, now on the Tennessee River, there's, especially in my neck of the woods, there's no need for a Lake Master anymore because this new C-map is ridiculous. And I love having it, but I wish that other people did not have it because it shows those little subtleties.
Yes.
Like on those straight ledges where has never been a community hole, all of a sudden people are like, all right, bingo, that's why they get there because it's obvious looking. You can set up your shading to where the contour, I mean, it's unbelievable. So I'm a huge fan of that. But I mean, my thing is on ledge fishing, and my biggest advice would be put the time in. And if you don't, there's so much knowledge out there to learn online. Like I didn't have that benefit. I started scanning with some straight trash, and I did it the hard way. I remember.
Like I used to have some LM. What were the Lowrance? The LMSs.
They had like LMS, LMX, something like that. I had them too, man. 5 inchers.
Yeah,
but that's awesome.
I feel like these kids today, the younger generation that's just getting rolling, they're spoiled, man. They did not have to do the same stuff we did.
The electronics are so easy today. I agree. I mean, I know you can look at them and you can be like, especially for us older guys. Look, I'm 47. You can look at them and be overwhelmed. But man, I mean, they pretty much just do it. I mean, really, right out of the box, they're almost just good to go.
That's right. I'll mess with mine a little bit nowadays and mess with the contrast and sensitivity, depending on where I am. And water clarity and things like that. But dude, you can buy one of these live 12s like I've got from Lowrance, and they come out pretty dang hot.
Yeah, pretty dang hot. All right, man. So tell us how you felt getting ready to go into day one. So we know it's your home lake. You're coming into day one. What'd you think you had, and what'd you think you'd have to have to set that big pretty trophy behind you up there in the boat?
So I thought when it was announced, I said 17 a day would win. And I had people telling me I was crazy because they thought 20 pounds a day would win. I fished here a lot in July. It's tough in July. These fish are beat to death in July. And had it been a month earlier, it would have taken 60 plus. I feel like that. But then they kind of threw us a curveball and pushed the weigh-in back some. And we blasted off. We blasted off at 8 in the mornings, and first flight was due in at 4. Second flight was due in at 6. I mean, the last flight was due in at 6. Right. So all of a sudden, we had that feeding window. So I thought it might really take pushing 60 now. And this is during the cutoff period that I was thinking this. Then I got out there and actually practiced. And I went back down to my 17 a day. That was my goal. Like I said, in practice, I didn't really throw. I knew I felt like I had more schools found than anybody. And rightfully so. I feel like I should have had more schools than anybody. With me being a local and knowing all the community stuff, I spent my entire practice looking for off the wall stuff, looking for schools that are
Mm-hmm.
pushed to certain places because they've been beat up. So I was excited about that, but I had buddies saying, are you about to whoop them? And my response was, we'll have to see. I'm not feeling so awesome about it because I had not, like I said earlier, I like to catch, not fish. And
Yeah.
I'd not thrown on enough to know if they were going to be 2.5 pounders or if they were going to be 4 pounders, honestly. And so I didn't know. And then day one started out a little rocky for me. And I guess we'll get into that in a little bit and I'll talk more about the actual tournament. But going in, I was a nervous wreck. Because I knew that I had enough fish located to win, but it would just be, whether it worked out. You don't ever know in a ledge tournament who's found what. Like I said, on that one juicy little hole,
Mhm.
I felt like I was the only one fishing it, but you never know. I mean, you do not know because it could have been somebody smooth like Big John, rolled by him, seen him, did not fire on him, and just kept on strolling. So you never know in a ledge tournament.
Yeah, so you're talking about that going into day one. I'm just reading from the press release from the NPFL. You had a rough time, brother. Do you think the nerves were getting to you or something? I mean, you lost some threes, you lost some fours. How's your shoulder feeling? I mean,
it's rough. I need some
mean-
icy hot.
I mean,
It was rough.
I mean, I guess my question is, you did lose some fish. You caught some good fish, which helped make up some ground that you desperately needed. But from a mindset right there, holy cow, I'd be doing some Mike and Ellie. I'd be throwing some rods and breaking rods. And
Oh, yeah. It crossed my mind multiple times.
I bet it did.
So on day one, I was boat 84, and we
Okay.
had a field of, I think, 105.
Yes.
And had I been boat number 9, I don't think I would have started where I started at because I didn't want to ruin it early on day one. I ended up starting on my good little spot, knowing it's better in the afternoons. It's not necessarily a morning deal, but with us blasting off at 8, I felt like there's a good possibility there would be a few down there. So I run straight to it. There's boats kind of running by me while I'm scanning them. They're down there. They're not like stacked, but they're down there. There was,
Right.
I would say, 20 fish, 20 bass down there. I stand up. I'm a plug guy. Like I love throwing a 6XD.
Okay.
This tournament and later in the year, a lot of times I throw a silent. I had a citrus shad 6XD silent tied on. I pick it up and I had just scanned them, so they were back behind the motor. So I stand up and I bomb a 6. I pick the trolling motor up, dump it in the water, turn the boat sideways, and I start winching on it, and I bow up on the very first cast of the tournament. And I told my cameraman, he's not even set up yet. Like he is still getting his stuff together.
Wow.
And I said, biggin'. And it ends up coming up beside the boat, and it's probably like a 3 3/4, and it comes off, throws my plug right by the boat. And I've everybody loses them in a ledge tournament for sure. Everybody loses them in every tournament, but man,
Yes.
it was like I
Lost a
got
good yesterday.
punched. Yes, it was like I got punched in the mouth right off the bat, and we're gonna see how you respond to this. And I sat there for a while, and I ended up catching a few. I think I left there with probably a 3 and a couple of 2s, and I'm a pretty serious underestimator on my weight tracker deal. So I think it showed that I had like 1 bass for 1.9 when I left there. And I end up, and I honestly don't think it was nerves. I only lost that one good one. They just were not ready to go when I pulled up on them that morning. I think that first cast, I kind of shocked them. And all of a sudden, the biggest one down there ate it on the first cast. I end up running to a second hole that I thought was really strong as well. And I debated back and forth on whether to start on it or not, but I didn't want to drive past this one. So I pull up on the second hole. One of my buddies, who's a guide, was sitting on it on a guide trip with some guide clients.
Oh,
Awesome
dang.
dude. He lets me roll in. He tells his guide clients, reel in, we're rolling. And I did not catch them, could not get those fish going. And I had a little school in my back pocket that was definitely an off-the-wall school, much shallower. They were probably setting in 8 to 10, and I felt really, really strongly about the fact that nobody would fish those. And I ran to those, and my first cast on those, didn't scan them at all. They're so shallow, I just pull up and throw. My first cast, I caught a 4, second cast, catch a 3, and then I probably caught pushing a dozen 2-pounders. And I said, I'm going to leave these, save them, and because I'm probably going to need them. And
how much space was between the spots that you found? Because you said you spent a lot of time close to water that you're really familiar with.
So day one, I fished from the state park at Pickwick to Bear Creek, which is probably a 15-mile stretch.
Okay.
But the majority of my stuff was in a 3-mile stretch of the river.
Wow.
Okay.
And day one, I went all the way to Bear Creek, like I said, but I only weighed in 1 from that direction. So then on day 2, I was boat 84, but they reversed the field. So I was one of the early guys.
Okay.
So day 1 afternoon, I pulled back up on the juice out there where I had started, and they were down there. And my first cast, I lost one well over 5. And I needed it. I had a good bag at that point. Like I had probably 17, which was kind of my goal.
Yeah.
But to lose that one that was a 2.5-pound cull,
holy cow,
hurt me. I mean, it hurt. And then I sat there and I caught a 3, a 3, a 4 1/4, and a 4. And I still had about 15 minutes left to fish and had 2 3-pounders in the live well, but I picked up the trolling motor and left because I knew that I was where I wanted to be. And I go to the weigh-in, and Josh Ray had more than I did. So I was like, dang it. But I knew, I mean, he's a good stick from over in Arkansas. He catches them. But I felt strongly that it'd be hard to back up 19. I think he had 1912 or 1914.
Right.
And anybody's capable of catching 20 on the Tennessee River at any point. But to do it 3 days in a row, I knew that odds were he was not going to do it. And it worked out. I mean, honestly, he's a good dude. He helped me out at Wright Patman. I had a flat tire. Dude comes out like he's been working on a NASCAR pit crew, and he's got me changed out in like 30 seconds. So I was proud for him to be leading after day 1. Obviously, I wanted to beat him, but if I would have been totally cool with him coming in second place. So then we roll, and I'll just kind of go with the tournament.
Yeah, go for it, brother.
Yeah. So then we roll into day 2, and I was boat 84. We reversed the field, so I started on it, and I had several boats see me catching them at the end of day 1 while they were running in, because it's a spot
that's what I was going to ask.
Very close to blast off, and a lot of people had to run right by it. So I went ahead and started on it because I was scared, and I pull up on it, and there's a guide boat sitting on it, and he tells his guide clients, and he says, reel in. And I said, hold on, don't leave. I said, I cannot ask you anything at all. I wanted to say, how long you been sitting here? Have you got exactly? But
how many 5-pounders did you catch?
Yes, seriously. And, but I rode across them, and I knew that they were not down there yet, and that he had not heard them yet. So I rolled on to my second spot, same rotation as the day before, and caught one, lost one. Neither one were big. They were both like 2.5. Then I end up running over to the spot where I was my back pocket little school. Right. And from the second I pulled up on those, I started jacking them every cast. But I left there with probably 12 pounds, where the day before I left there with a 4, a 3, and a decent bag anyway. So I left there with nothing that I felt good about having in my box, but it gave me a limit, and it allowed me to spend some time behind the wheel looking at those Lawrences. So from there, I rolled to a community hole area that I had not seen a school on all week. And 2 days of the 3 practice days, I had looked for them, and I had not found them. I roll across those, and I'm telling you, it was like I shut down on them. Like when I sat down to scan, my graph popped. I told my cameraman, I said, it's about to go down. And he said, later on, he said, how did you know that? And I said, he said, by the way they were setting up. And I said, no, I really couldn't tell by the way that I shut down on the school. So I didn't really know how they were beat up down there. But I said, nobody's been fishing them all week because they've not been here. So I know they're going to be fresh. And I stood up and I caught a 4 1/4 on my first cast, like multiple threes, and then my buddy David Allen makes the shuttlecock hair jig, and it's awesome. And once I kind of abused him and got him to a point where, man, I need a bait swap here, I fired the hair jig out there and caught 1 over 4, and that got me to a spot where I was comfy again. Right. Got me to kind of my 17 mark, and there was some stuff up in Alabama a little further down the river that I would have liked to have gone to, but I also knew I've still got where I started each day. I've still got that school in the afternoon. And honestly, if I can get that, that's all I need to upgrade a time or two. And that afternoon I caught another big one or two and ended up getting, I think I had like 19, 15, pushing 20.
Yes.
And was cool. And, you know, going into the last day, had a 7-pound lead. I was a nervous wreck. And because, you know, you fished it Saturdays on the Tennessee River, things change.
They don't like they like to say, oh, you know all that current you had? Let's just switch that off.
Yep.
And then everything goes and spreads out. And
that's exactly
right. They start hanging
off the side of the ledge.
Yeah.
Suspending.
They do crazy stuff. Crazy.
And the only thing I think that kept me from like going insane was my little back pocket school. Nobody had fished them.
Oh, wow.
You know, I knew
that school is so shallow. It's no wonder nobody fished them because, you know, I mean, just 8, when you told me 8 feet, about 8 to 10 feet, I was like, wow, 8 to 10 feet.
And it's a school that there's places like that all up and down the river, but scanning has become so popular in this, you know, post-spawn time that, you know, people have kind of gotten away from that. Like I had several shallow schools. Go ahead.
So the school you're talking about, like you said, you're 8, 10 feet. Now, was it like in a pool of water? I mean, was it like shallow around it and they were just kind of setting down in that pool?
So what I call it a ditch. They were laying in a ditch. And here's what's cool about that ditch. I never knew there was a ditch there until I got the C map. And so I wish that you could, that's what I say. I wish I was the only one that had it. Because now it's an obvious ditch. And there's multiple others all up and down this river system that,
right.
You know, I love looking at it. I mean, I'm sitting in my boat right now because you guys caught me. I was already starting to do some looking at Wisconsin, and unfortunately, CMAP is not mapped there yet.
So,
we're going to have to go old school on them in Wisconsin.
So this ditch, I mean, was it like a couple feet long, or was it just, you know?
So it's a bar that runs off the river channel, and it's a shallower bar. The flat is probably, like I said, 7-8 foot of water, and there's one little ditch in it that drops down. There's actually 2 ditches in that area, and I was fishing the southernmost ditch, but for some reason there's usually a school in one of the 2 ditches, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't scan them, but the day that I found them in practice, it's a place you just have to pull up and fish. And I pulled up there, fired my football jig out, and it hit the bottom, and like I hopped it once or twice, and it was like boom, boom. And I set the hook and I catch a 4. And no, actually the first one I caught was a 3. I pan over there with my front facing sonar, and I have got them like stirred, like they got fired up when I threw in there and caught that one. And I threw back one more time just because I was tired of being a good boy. And I catch a 4. And
oh gosh!
So I was pretty excited about that school because I thought there was some serious quality in it. In the tournament, turns out I only caught 1 over 4 out of it in 3 days. But to me, it was my key school because it was a guaranteed limit. It freed me up to
settled you down.
Yes, mentally
settled you down. Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not the kind of guy, especially in a home lake tournament, that fishes for a limit. You know, I think if you're at home, you better be fishing to win.
Yes.
You know, if I go to Eufaula or somewhere that I've never been or been once or twice, I may be that guy that's fishing for a limit. But at home, I feel like you fish to win at home, and I definitely was. But that school, like I just keep calling it my back pocket school because it was something that I had on standby if needed to relax me, calm me down, put some fish in the box. And, it was pretty cool.
Going into the final day, man, with the 7-pound lead, that definitely helped confidence big freaking time. Going out there, what's going through your head, man? You think you got this thing won, or that's a heck of a lead. Even though like you're talking about the 4s, the 5s, and even bigger, their potential are there for those bass.
Oh yeah,
yes. From the other anglers. But how'd you feel, man? Was it settled or?
So I have, I'm pretty experienced, but I have only one time went into the final day of a big tournament in the lead. And that was in the ABA National that I won up here in 2009. And I was a nervous wreck that morning. I was a young guy. I honestly got sick before blast off, but this one, my nerves were definitely a little more calm. I'm not going to say that I was right. I was confident in catching a limit, and I knew the biggest bag of the week, Mark Schilling had caught the day before, and it was like 20 pounds, 12 ounces. I knew that 22, 23 was possible. Mm-hmm. So with my lead, I knew that I needed 15 to not put it away, but 15 made it fairly comfortable. And if I caught 17 or 18, 25 is an insane bag any time of year here, but 25 in July is almost unheard of.
Right.
And so I fished a little bit safe on the last day.
Okay.
I was boat number 1, so I got my pick of where I wanted to sit down. I started on the honey hole offshore, way out there deep. And I only did it so that nobody else would start on it, because I had now been seen on it 2 days in a row, mornings and afternoons.
Yeah.
And I knew the likelihood of somebody sitting down on it and investigating a little bit was pretty high. Not that, not at all saying, hey, we got a bunch of hole pirates, but man, these guys are fishing for checks too.
Exactly.
It's hard. I've done it before to drive home and say, baby, I'm not coming home with a check. I get that part. Yeah. And so I started on it because I was boat 1, not really anticipating catching anything. And I ended up actually catching a solid one, probably a 3 on a 6XD. But like I said, day 3 was totally different. So it was overcast, mist and rain, super cloudy, low light. And you know what that does on the river. They were spread out, busted up, hanging off the side of the ledge, some up top. Yeah. Just not in active mode, I guess. And I pulled the plug on it quick and I went to my back pocket hole, pulled up, and I had probably 4 or 5 chase boats that were my buddies out there just kind of cheer me on. And
they had the beer to pour on you once you won.
Dang right. They were ready. I think they had Roman candles ready to go. I cut that out. So. But I pull up on it, and before my chase boats can get to me, I've already caught 2 2.5s.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And my jig hit the bottom, and I was boat flip them, throw them in the box, throw out. When they pull up on me, I'm putting the second one in the box. So that gives me 3, and they're all like over 2s, but nothing I'm crazy proud of. But we're helping ourselves mentally here. And then I all of a sudden catch a pretty solid one. I ended up weighing it later, and it was like a 330, and then I catch like a 323. And
nice.
Then I fill my limit, and I probably could have sat there and milked it for a little more. But I also knew at the same time, odds are I'm not catching a big one that's going to help right now. And the longer that I sit here with 5 boats watching me, the more potential that I'm going to ruin this hole, because this ain't the last tournament I'm going to fish at Pickwick,
Right.
Yeah. I did not want to ruin it. So I run around a little bit more. And day 3 was, I had some cameraman and some interviews ask me did you freak out because you ran around a ton? And I did not. I spot myself with I think when I weighed them after I left there, I had 12.8. So I start doing the math in my head, and I'm like, with a 7-pound lead, second place at this point has to catch 19.8. It is 11 o'clock, and I weigh in at 6. So I've got 7 hours on the Tennessee River to find some upgrades.
Right.
So I probably put 5 hours on this motor running and scanning that day.
Holy cow.
I mean, I told my brother, because my brother was running a camber boat the last day, and he spent some time with me, and I said, all I want to do is catch a big one and say, ball game, when I'm holding it up.
There you go.
And it didn't happen all day for me. I some of those, speaking of, I know y'all have had John on a time or two. I roll up to Alabama, and I had one little sneaky spot up all the way up there, and I run up, pull up to it, and he's sitting on it. And, he's good. These guys, they found stuff that I was not confident that other people, that people would find. So I ran around a ton, and with nothing to show for it, I had one straighten a jig hook. Like I bowed up I was stroking a jig, and I had one just slackline it, like, a good bite. I bow up, straightens my jig hook out, and then I also had one break a treble hook on my spoon. And it was like, I mean, everything that was happening made me more of a nervous wreck. And, when things are going your way, man, nothing can knock you off your little high. But, man, when it starts going downhill, mine right here. And that, to me, was what I was, I guess, most proud of in this tournament, because I got a little sideways at times. I ain't gonna lie. I dropped a bomb on live one time after I lost one. But
man, you're on your home lake and you're doing well. I mean, you're gonna feel nerves. You probably been less nervous if you'd have been somewhere else.
That's exactly what I said.
I mean,
so
absolutely.
In this trail, the one that Carson won in at Wright Patman,
right?
I after practice, I'm not one of those guys that tells my wife, like, pack up the kids and come on down to Texas. But I in the back of my mind, I was prepared after 2 days to say, come on down here. I thought I had a shot to win that one.
Right.
And I had zero nerves there. I'm not, if I don't bang them, then my buddies don't make fun of me, because I've never been to Wright Patman, But here at home, man, if I don't catch him at home, I'm never going to hear the end of this.
You're never going to hear
the end of it.
Yeah.
So, but it worked out, man. I think I stayed on that 12.8-ish kind of bag until about noon. I culled one on a big Jason Lambert Castaic spoon, the mag spoon. I culled out. I had a 140 in the live well that was part of my 12.8 bag. I catch like a 3.5, cull it out, that bumps me up to, I go say 14. I stayed on 14 from noon until 5 o'clock. And I might have culled a time or two for ounces, but nothing substantial.
Right.
And I saved my little juice hole for the end of the day. I roll up to it at about 4, and there's a boat sitting on it.
Oh.
We had a conversation. I asked him what time he weighed in. He weighed in at 5 o'clock. And at this point in time, my brother's on me, because he knows where I'm going to be at certain times based on what I've been catching.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat there from 4 o'clock until 4:52 when he leaves. And I was fishing, but I was not throwing at a school of bass. I was just waiting on dude to leave.
Yeah.
So he leaves. I immediately sit down, fire up the engine, idle over him. And I tried all week, and I think this was to my advantage. These bass are so educated and smart now, because they get thrown at every single day and night.
Yeah, they can tell you the model number of the crankbait you're going to now.
I tried not to ride over them all week long. I tried to ride to the side, and you can tell how they're set up like that. And I rode. I say when I rode across them, I rode to the side of them, and it was the most beautiful looking setup I had seen all week. It was. And I turned around and I told my brother, it's about to go down. And all I wanted was like that moment where you jack a big one and say ball game.
Yeah.
like I said, so I pull up down from them. After I scan them, I go about 100 yards below them. I stand up and I hit spot lock, and I sit back down. I put some ice on the fish. I make sure they're clipped. And my brother says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Just give me a minute." And I later on explained to him that boat had been sitting on top of the fish.
Yeah, you gotta let them rest for a minute.
That I was letting them recoup. And
Let them recoup. I told him, let them recoup.
I said, on my first cast, I'm going to catch a big one. And I was doing some GoPro footage editing last night, and I found my day 3 first cast, and I fire out there. My cameraman was prepared because he knew where we were. I had the same cameraman all 3 days, totally
That's
awesome.
cool.
Dude. I fire out there and I bow up on the first cast. And when I stuck it, I turned to him and said, "This is the one." And it was, I never saw it. I know what I had on. It was a big one. Couldn't hardly turn it. Definitely over 5. And it comes off. And everything I had wanted to lay down on the front deck and cry. But instead I fire back out there and I bow up again. And my brother's sitting inside of me here on the river bar, and they're ready for like an explosion moment. Yeah. I walk this fish around the boat. I haven't seen it. It was not a giant, but it was probably a 3.5. I walk it around the boat and I get it ready and I go to lip it and I have it in my arm and it comes off.
Oh my God.
I mean, at that point, I'm like, this may not be mine to win. Like, somebody's tracked it down today. And I end up I was doing it 6. About 5:45, I bow up and I said, definite color, like this is going to be a good one. I swing it in, it comes off in the air, lands the bottom of the boat, and it was a 4-pounder, culled out of 2.5, and it got me to 16-11 or whatever I had the last day. And
right,
I actually ran in a few minutes early because I knew somebody's going to have 24, 25.
Yeah,
it's possible, but I like my chances. And man, it fortunately worked out. I ended up winning by 8 pounds. And
crushed
what was crazy, I had people giving me advice all week, and I appreciated it a ton as far as just relax and do this. But going into the last day, I had multiple people say, have fun. I'm here to tell you, I didn't have any fun the last day. Zero. Until I got until
you lifted that trophy.
That's exactly right. So, but what a week. It was so cool to do it at home in front of my home crowd, in front of my family and friends. And, the money, it's not anything crazy. It's not life-changing. For me, it's not. It's awesome to have. And I've told people, my wife's already got plans for that, I'm sure. But I wanted this, and I thought this was the most important thing of the week until I got to the weigh-in on day 3, and I had like probably 200 plus people there.
That's awesome, to
support me. And
that's awesome.
I'm not emotional. I had to put my glasses from around my neck. I had to put them up here on my eyes while I was talking because, that's my people. Like I just kept saying, like, this is my town. These are my people. And, to have the people that you care about to be there and watching their faces. And I mean, they were more excited than I was, but that was the coolest experience fishing wise I've ever had. And I feel like I've had an experience or two like that where I've won as much money.
Right.
But to
not
win an
turnout.
NPFL, that's right. To have that turnout, my family and friends there, and to do it in the inaugural season. And, I'm stoked about it, man. I'm super pumped.
Heck yeah.
Congratulations, brother.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll come down off my high one of these days. But
hey, let it ride. Let it ride.
Keep the ball rolling, man. You don't know, you never know how long it's going to last. Just keep the ball rolling.
That's like you said, the money will come and go, but that trophy, that's going to be sitting on the shelf till we're old and dusty.
I got to find a place for it too, man. My low battery came on, but I got 20%, so we're good.
All right, we're good.
Hey, we're good.
We only have about one more question anyway. We're gonna wrap it up too, because we've been running about an hour, and that's where we like to keep it. So,
gotcha.
I've got one final question. I'm gonna let Bass Geek ask his final question. But my final question is: after each and every event, what was your takeaway from this event? What did you learn that you could use the next event? Like you said, you're going to Wisconsin. What can you use leading into the next event or any other event?
So that's a good question, and one I hadn't really thought of. So I learned. Obviously, I feel like if you're not learning something every time you go fishing,
that's why I say it.
But nobody's ever necessarily posed that to me. I'll say, the more times that you put yourself in a situation, the more experienced that you are.
Okay.
You know, I feel like the first time that Tom Brady played in a Super Bowl and went into shotgun, that I'm sure he was confident, but there's some nerves there. And this last Super Bowl, dude, I feel like Tom Brady knew he was winning the Super Bowl before he went out there on the field that night. But I feel like my takeaway is one thing I learned that kind of confirmed, I guess, is managing fish, especially in an offshore tournament. It's hard to do. Like I told you on day one, I left that school knowing that potentially I could upgrade another pound or two in the next 10 minutes. And it was not only possible, like it was probable. So managing fish confirmed some stuff for me. And then honestly, like you said, stay consistent. Like this season's I'm in third in AOI points now.
That's pretty awesome.
It's been, you know, when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. I've been on both ends, man. I've had seasons where nothing goes right, and I'm gonna try to just keep this train rolling. And as far as what I take from this tournament on to Wisconsin, I'm gonna go with momentum. Like I want to take positive momentum and energy to Wisconsin with me.
My last question is a simple one. Because, you know, I know anytime I get a windfall, my wife gets most of it.
Yep.
But there's always something. So my question is, all right, man, you got a big fat check. What are you buying you? Just one little thing, big thing. Don't have to be fishing. What are you going to treat yourself for?
So that's a good one, too. I'm actually going to. So my brother's a youth minister / preacher. That's awesome. We are a pretty religious family, and that's cool. A lot of prayers got said over this tournament and the season and all that. But so my wife and got two little girls. Got Lakin, who's 9. I got Lola Fisher, she's 7. And they've been wanting to go to a private Christian school in Savannah, Tennessee, and for a year now. And it's smaller than the public schools. Things are more Christian oriented, God driven. And, I
spent 13 years in one, believe it or not. I kind of got held back, but I spent 13 years in one of them.
That's cool. Well, my girls have been to open house over there. They love it. They're pumped about going. Nice. Here's the deal. Elementary school, junior high, and high school, guess what they are? They are free. So that's my holdup. Not at this private school now. Yeah. My holdup is financially. And so honestly, what we're going to get with this, my girls are going to get to go to school there now.
Nice.
That's awesome.
My wife said, listen, if you win this deal, can we use some of the money for that? And I said, yes, let's do that. Yeah, she knew the right moment to catch me. And I always do. And I'm cool with it, man. I want my kids to go there. Yeah. But you know, it's tough to pay for school that's free. And but at the same time, keeping my kids out of learning some of the stuff that's going down in public schools and such is probably worth it, in my opinion. I'll shelter these little girls. I feel like if I had little boys, I would say rock and roll, go on into school. But
put some dirt on it, son.
I'm gonna protect them. And then secondly, I need a new grill, and I'm gonna get a grill.
That's what I was looking for. There we go.
Want a new grill.
What are you getting you?
I gotta have something to fire a fillet up on.
And
that's awesome.
And that's what I want. I have already been shopping for a new grill. Don't get one. So that's kind of what I'm pumped about.
Get you one of those Gray Buck. I think he's got that wood fire grill or whatever he's using. That's
wood pellets.
Wood pellets. That's the new trend going on these days, man.
I need to do some research on that then. I've always been a gas guy, but
See what was all you grill companies out there. You got a winner, third in the AOI.
That's right.
Sponsored. Send this man a grill.
That's right. Traeger, call me.
That's it. Brother, man, thank you for coming on with us. Thank you for talking with us. Had a great time. You're an awesome guy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I didn't do it the last tournament because we had Bassmaster and NPFL going. But the last few, it's been like NPFL in one corner, Bassmaster way in the other corner.
Yeah.
And watching live as well. And we love it. So we're excited I'm excited about the NPFL. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
I really do. It's definitely something a little bit different.
It is.
But, it gave that, part of that conversation we were talking about, or you were talking about earlier, being part of the FLW and, growing up fishing FLW so much. When the Costas did, it disintegrated and all this other stuff, and a lot of changes were made. A lot of guys did not like the way they saw it. You saw it as a different deal for scheduling and things of that nature, but a lot of guys didn't like to see the way Major League Fishing was going.
Right.
And NPFL popped up and they said, we're gone. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, the trophy's awesome as crap. It's American flag, guys. I mean, how much more better can you get than that? I know them. I know, Soka was a little upset the next year. They're going to pay $100,000 to the winner.
Yeah.
But he already got his 100. He had to do it twice though.
He did. He got his 100 already.
But he already got his 100. So I mean, but it's awesome. I wish come closer to me because I'd love to go to an event. And I like to, the only thing I have noticed is the crowds. I mean, your 200 was probably the biggest I've seen in a weigh-in so far. Hopefully, more and more crowds will start coming out and recognize this.
That's right.
What it is.
I think it's still building. I think it's something that's, it's still new. It's going to take it a minute. But I tell everybody that asks me about it, I'm confident in this leadership group, and I feel like we're going in the right direction. I really, really do. So I'm excited about the future.
So guys, if the NPFL event is anywhere close to you guys, an hour or so, come on out. I mean, I was watching the weigh-in. I mean, you could get $50 worth of stuff being thrown out from all the anglers and everything. Cause I mean, it might be 50 to 100 people at this weigh-in. So you got a chance to take home something.
You do.
I mean, so, with all the great sponsors that they have. So brother, congratulations. Thank you for coming on with us. Good luck through the rest of the year, and good luck, man. Thank you.
Hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks for having me on, man. I enjoyed it. All right.
Hey,
all
man,
right.
Anytime.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good to meet y'all. Okay.
Good to meet you,
sir.
brother.
All right.
All right, guys, man, we really, really appreciate Brandon Perkins for coming on and talking with us, man. He's an awesome dude. If you guys are not following him on social media, please make sure you guys head on over and follow him. We forgot to get a plug for his sponsors. That kind of sucks. I apologize
Wow, we
for
did.
that.
Yeah, forgot all about that. We're sorry, brother.
Yeah, we're sorry, brother, but we're running pretty daggone long, so we want to go ahead and get it wrapped up because we do try to stick to the 1 hour. But that was an awesome conversation we had with that young man right there, 40 years old.
He's fun.
Yes,
Had a
he
good
is.
time.
He's got a long career ahead of him, and get this first big win behind him right there, taking home a big check for $50,000. Congratulations to him, guys. We appreciate you guys all listening. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the follows. Again, if you're not following us on Rumble, and if you haven't checked out Rumble, please make sure you guys head on over and do so. They don't sponsor us at all. I do have a new sponsor coming for this show. I'm waiting for the package to arrive, and most likely, like the post office these days, is still a week behind. But Rumble, there you guys go. Check them out. Also, guys, don't forget our sponsors: Angler's Choice, Dick's Sporting Goods, Lynchburg Arms Indoor Shooting Range, Battleborn Batteries, Conrad Brothers Marine, Wild Wear America, which is our jersey creator, Missile Baits, and Lisa Lindsay with Long and Foster down in South Boston, Virginia. You guys can give her a call, 434-572-2645. if you're looking to buy or sell your next house. If you do want to sponsor, so the way I kind of did it this year, being the first year on Outdoor Obsessions Radio, I just kind of put everybody down the side, to help our sponsors out that really do pay the bills, send me beautiful checks. But if you want to be a title sponsor of this show, just reach out to me. We'd love to have you. Love to talk about it. And, it's this year we're kind of working on it, getting the bugs worked out of everything, promoting it, making it bigger and bigger and bigger. But next year I'm hoping during the off season really to add a couple more shows to Outdoor Obsessions Radio.
Nice.
I'm looking for a hunting show, deep sea fishing show. I mean,
Cool.
that's one of the reasons why I did, keep your eyes and ears open. That's why I did move it off the basscast.com. Excuse me, so we could have more shows like Backstage Fishing with Mr. John Woodruff and me and John and Warren Evans talking about kayak fishing. And we got a new one coming from him since his butt gets back from ICAST. He's down there partying, having a good time. I'm not jealous or nothing. So, guys, we appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you, Bass Geek. You're the man.
Anytime, brother. You're the man.
Let's wrap this bad boy up.
You've been listening to Basscast Radio, the best in local and national bass fishing news. To listen to more episodes, check us out on all the podcasting networks. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, thebasscast.com, and Basscast News.